We're going to get some financial tips. We want to be financially fit. And who better to ask than a financial expert who we always go to from CNET Money's editor at large, Farnoosh Torabi. Hi, Farnoosh.
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
2022.
Woo!
So what is the financial forecast and outlook for 2022? What would you say?
Well, I don't have a crystal ball, but what we're looking at in this current year is rising interest rates, more inflation, which means things are going to cost more money. And the IRS actually has some new rules for us, which I know sounds so exciting, but I promise it's a silver lining for those of us who want to save more for retirement.
What's the first step? How do we get started?
So I think, you can be really overwhelmed at the beginning of the year. My priority in 2022, when I'm talking to people about, where they should start, is with the high interest credit card debt. We know that interest rates are probably going to go on the upward direction this year. We've had rock bottom interest rates for so long, and I think this is the year we're going to see a movement north. So what that means is if you have high interest credit card debt or any loan that is a variable rate, that could jack up over the course of a year. It won't happen overnight, but make sure you're prioritizing this, and any extra money you have, you're putting towards the highest interest debt. You might want to transfer the balance of a high interest credit card to a 0% APR credit card. It's a temporary 0% opportunity to just save on interest. And if you have anything that's a variable loan, refinance to a fixed rate so you don't fluctuate with the market.
How should we determine, prioritize, decide which debt to tackle first?
Well, so there's usually two ways, and they're popular, and I think it just comes down to your personality. If you're somebody who needs some support, you want some stimulation, excitement to get, tackling this debt, you can start with your lowest balance card. Forget what the interest rate is, just tackle that lowest balance. If you can do it quickly, that'll give you the instant sort of energy to tackle the rest of the debt. But if you're more of a scientific debt payoffer, you want to go with the highest interest debt because that is your most expensive debt. And the sooner you get rid of that, the better if you're more interested in saving on interest.
Well, speaking of savings, let's talk about that for a second. My father was always big on, when I was a teenager, he would say, save your money, which is like a great platitude, but
Right.
What does that mean?
Right. Well, it's always important to save, especially this year. We talked about inflation earlier. Things are going to be more expensive this year. We're already experiencing this at the supermarket, at the gas pump. Car prices are going up. So look at your budget. Always a good time of year. Just reevaluate, how have I been spending over the last 6 months? What can stay? What needs to go? What is probably going to get more expensive, and try to save for that. And I know that we always hear save 3 to 6 months. That can sound like an impossible thing to do. So I just say start with $5 a day, $20 a week. The most important thing is that you are consistent with it and that you are automatically doing this. There are apps now that can help us. So leverage the technology. And this year, I know it sounds like a lot of work, but if you are not happy with your bank, if your interest rate is, your savings rate is just ho-hum, you're not happy with customer service, this may be the year to transfer your balance to a different bank. There are so many different banks now offering competitive interest rates, savings rates. So start searching.
How should we look at the savings in terms of retirement?
So this is actually some good news, Ryan. The IRS, which we know typically doesn't have good news, they have actually increased our contribution limit to our 401k. So in 2022, if you're interested in really upping that retirement savings, you can increase it by $1,000. So you can, for a total of $20,500. And that's tax deductible money. So you're not only going to save for your retirement, but you're going to save on taxes. And so if you are looking to play some catch up, I would highly recommend taking advantage of this new IRS rule.
And what about, you touched on it a little bit, what about mortgage rates? Same?
Yeah, so we know, rates are going to go up. Do not get overwhelmed by this. I think people who are in the housing market, they see rates going up and they panic. Oh my gosh, I have to get in my application now. I have to buy a house now. Don't worry. It's not going to happen overnight. And remember, these low interest rates that we've had, 3%, 3.5%, this is like, in the context of history, this is, unprecedented. So remember that. And remember, buying a home is the largest purchase most of us will make. Take your time. You might even consider renting before you buy. Renting, I know it gets, it's like money down the drain. I disagree. I think renting, especially in a time like now, it can give you liquidity, it can give you flexibility, and then take your time, boost your credit score, get your financial ducks in a row, then buy a house. Do not make knee-jerk reactions because of interest rates.
And before you go, what advice do you have for people who want to chase more paper this year?
Hey, you know what? All of last year, I was writing about on CNET about the great resignation. People are leaving the job market. So what does that mean? If you are in the market for a job, or even if you have a job, leverage this to ask your employer for more money. Companies are really desperate for talent right now. They are trying to hire and they cannot find great talent. People are just sort of taking their time. So if you are at your job and you want better benefits, better pay, this is the year to speak up, be confident.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. All of the tips on our website and Farnoosh's podcast. So Money. You can check that out wherever you get your podcasts. Great to talk to you. Take care, okay?
Take care. Thank you.
And we'll be right back.